In a significant move that signals a potential shift within the Democratic Party, Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow has officially announced her candidacy for the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by retiring Senator Gary Peters. McMorrow's announcement, delivered via a direct-to-camera video, underscores her commitment to bring about change in a party that many feel is at a crossroads. This Senate race, expected to be one of the most high-profile contests in the 2026 midterms, could redefine the Democratic landscape, especially in light of recent polling indicating a dramatic decline in the party's favorability. McMorrow, who gained national attention for her impassioned rebuttal to Republican attacks during a 2022 Senate session, framed her campaign around a call for empowerment and renewal. "They want to make you feel powerless, but you are not powerless," she stated, referencing both her previous electoral victories and the recent successes of Democrats in Michigan. Her video also notably criticized prominent figures such as former President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk, emphasizing a dissatisfaction with the status quo in Washington. "What won't fix it? The same old crap out of Washington," she asserted, indicating her intention to disrupt traditional political norms. As the first major candidate to enter the race, McMorrow is making a bold statement, particularly as she faces opponents who may possess more extensive federal experience. Among potential challengers are State Representatives Kristen McDonald-Rivet and Haley Stevens, as well as Attorney General Dana Nessel. On the Republican side, former Congressman Mike Rogers has expressed interest in running, adding to the competitive nature of this race. In an interview preceding her campaign launch, McMorrow articulated her vision for a new generation of leadership, emphasizing the need for the Democratic Party to articulate a clear and affirmative agenda. She described her platform as a counter to the Make America Great Again movement, proposing what she calls the New American Dream, which aims to enable individuals to achieve the lives they envision through hard work and dedication. "We need not only a new generation of leadership but also a new generation of Democrats who, when they get power, actually do the things they said they're going to do," she explained. The context of McMorrow's campaign is further complicated by recent polling data revealing a record low favorability for the Democratic Party. A CNN survey released in early April found that 54% of U.S. adults view the party unfavorably, a stark increase from earlier in the year. This decline in public perception has raised questions about the party's direction and leadership, with a notable portion of Democrats expressing dissatisfaction with the current leadership. "We are not bringing in new ideas and a new approach in a way that has really hurt us," McMorrow remarked, advocating for a significant generational change within the party. McMorrow's candidacy also highlights a broader struggle within the Democratic Party regarding its messaging and response to contemporary issues. She has voiced concerns over how divisive topics such as transgender rights and sports participation have been handled, emphasizing that the party must communicate effectively to resonate with the majority of voters. "We have to talk to 99% of people," she said, urging the need for language and policies that are accessible and relatable to everyday Americans. With her campaign launch, McMorrow is not only positioning herself as a fresh face in a challenging political landscape but is also catalyzing a larger conversation about the future of the Democratic Party. As she navigates the complexities of a statewide race, her ability to connect with voters and articulate a compelling vision will be critical. As the 2026 elections approach, all eyes will be on Michigan to see if McMorrow's call for change and renewed leadership resonates with constituents longing for a different approach in Washington. The implications of her campaign could extend beyond Michigan, potentially influencing Democratic strategies and priorities on a national scale. In a significant electoral showdown on April 1, 2025, the political landscape was reshaped as Liberal candidate Susan Crawford emerged victorious in the fiercely contested Wisconsin Supreme Court race, while Republicans successfully retained 2 congressional seats in Florida. These outcomes not only signal shifting dynamics within the respective states but also provide insight into the broader implications for the Trump administration and the Republican Party as they seek to solidify their power. Crawford's triumph in Wisconsin, projected by multiple news outlets, maintains the narrow liberal majority on the state's highest court. Backed by a coalition of Democratic donors including prominent figures like George Soros, Crawford defeated her conservative opponent Brad Shamel despite a staggering $20 million investment from billionaire Elon Musk, who sought to boost Shamel's campaign. The Wisconsin race shattered records for the most expensive Supreme Court election in U.S. history, with combined expenditures exceeding $100 million. The outcome is seen as a referendum on Trump's policies and Musk's growing influence in Republican politics. Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, characterized the election results as a decisive message from Wisconsin voters rejecting what he termed the extreme Republican agenda. "Our democracy is not for sale," he asserted, highlighting the significance of the vote beyond state lines. The implications extend to Trump's administration, as the loss in Wisconsin marks a setback for his agenda and raises questions about the effectiveness of his endorsements and the political clout of his billionaire allies. In contrast, the Republican Party found solace in Florida, where they successfully secured both special elections for congressional seats vacated by former Representatives Matt Gaetz and Mike Waltz. Randy Fine and Jimmy Patronis were projected winners in their respective districts, reinforcing Republican control in a crucial legislative moment. Although the districts are traditionally Republican strongholds, the Democratic candidates made notable gains, narrowing the margin of victory compared to the previous elections. This has prompted discussions within the GOP regarding the potential fragility of their positions as they navigate an increasingly competitive political environment. President Trump celebrated these victories on social media, asserting that his endorsement was crucial in overcoming the Democratic opposition. However, the reduced margins in Florida suggest a possible shift in voter sentiment that could be leveraged by Democrats in future contests. Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin expressed optimism about the party's performance, viewing the results as a foundation for momentum leading into the 2026 midterm elections. The dual outcomes from Wisconsin and Florida underscore the complex interplay of state and national politics, particularly as the Trump administration grapples with challenges to its authority and influence. With the upcoming midterm elections on the horizon, both parties are keenly aware that these results could foreshadow broader electoral trends. Democrats are hopeful that the Wisconsin win will energize their base and signal a resurgence, while Republicans are tasked with addressing the emerging threats from a reinvigorated Democratic opposition. As political analysts and strategists dissect the implications of these elections, the responses from both parties will shape their strategies moving forward. The focus will now shift to upcoming contests in other battleground states, where the fight for momentum will continue against the backdrop of evolving voter expectations and shifting allegiances. With the 2026 midterms approaching, both sides are poised for a potentially transformative election cycle that could redefine the political landscape for years to come. In an announcement that could reshape the landscape of Michigan politics, State Senator Mallory McMorrow has officially declared her candidacy for the U.S. Senate seat being vacated by retiring Senator Gary Peters. Her entry into the race marks the first significant challenge for what is anticipated to be a highly competitive election cycle in 2026, as both parties eye the potential for a shift in power within the Senate. McMorrow, a Democrat representing Michigan's 8th District, has gained national recognition for her impassioned speeches and advocacy for marginalized communities, particularly during her tenure in the state legislature. "We need new leaders in Washington. I'm running for Senate to be 1-inch," McMorrow stated in her campaign announcement, underscoring her commitment to proactive governance and change. Her rise to prominence began in 2018 when she flipped a Republican-held district. Since then, she has established herself as a formidable presence within the Democratic Party, advocating for issues such as gun safety, reproductive rights, and economic support for struggling businesses in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Notably, her work included the removal of a long-standing abortion ban in Michigan and the elimination of the so-called tampon tax. McMorrow's campaign is expected to capitalize on her fundraising prowess and her ability to connect with voters on a personal level. She has articulated her vision for Michigan, emphasizing a need to counteract the chaos she attributes to the Trump administration. "We want to lay out a vision of building what's next," she remarked, framing her narrative as a response to the challenges faced by residents in the state. Her campaign video, which highlights the urgency of her message, opens with clips depicting the tumultuous political climate, followed by her assertion that this moment will challenge us. The Democratic field for the Senate race is expected to be crowded. Potential candidates include U.S. Representatives Haley Stevens and Kristen McDonald-Rivet, along with former State House Speaker Joe Tate and Abdul El-Sayed, who recently announced his departure from his role as Wayne County Health Director. The prospect of a competitive primary could play a significant role in determining the party's nominee. On the Republican side, former U.S. Representative Mike Rogers, who narrowly lost his race last year, is among those contemplating a run. Despite the competitive landscape, political analysts note that McMorrow's unique combination of charisma, policy knowledge, and grassroots support could position her as a strong candidate. Her advocacy work has not only resonated within Michigan but has also garnered attention on national platforms, enabling her to reach a broader audience. "I'm going to be leaning into that story," she said, referring to her personal journey and the stories of the voters she meets. As the race unfolds, McMorrow's candidacy will likely focus on addressing the economic struggles of Michigan residents while also providing a counter-narrative to the perceived chaos of the Trump era. Her ability to connect with voters on issues that matter to them could prove pivotal as she seeks to garner support in a state that has not elected a Republican senator since 1994. Looking ahead, the 2026 Senate race in Michigan promises to be a battleground for both parties, with candidates aiming to articulate their visions for the future while navigating the complexities of a changing political landscape. McMorrow, with her blend of grassroots activism and policy expertise, is poised to play a significant role in shaping the discourse as she embarks on her campaign for the U.S. Senate. In a significant political showdown, Randy Fine, a Republican state senator, emerged victorious in the special election for Florida's 6th congressional district, defeating Democrat Josh Weil, a public school teacher. This election was necessitated by the departure of Michael Waltz, who has transitioned from Congress to serve as President Trump's national security advisor. Fine's win, while celebrated within Republican circles, reflects a narrowing margin of victory compared to previous elections in the district, highlighting potential vulnerabilities as the midterm elections approach. Fine secured approximately 56.7% of the vote, totaling 110,764 ballots against Weil's 42.7%, which amounted to 83,485 votes. This outcome marks a stark contrast to Waltz's victory in November, where he won by over 30 points. The election was called by the Associated Press with over 95% of votes reported, showcasing a turnout that suggests a growing discontent among constituents toward the Republican Party, even in traditionally red districts. The results of this special election in the 6th District have sent ripples through both parties. Despite the Republican victory, the margin indicates a shift in voter sentiment. In the 1st Congressional District, another Republican candidate, Jimmy Patronis, won, but also with a reduced margin than his predecessor, highlighting a trend of diminishing returns for Republican candidates in areas previously considered solidly in their favor. Patronis' victory was marked by a 15-point lead, down considerably from the 32-point margin enjoyed by Matt Gaetz in the previous election. Democrats, while ultimately unsuccessful, are framing these results as a historic overperformance. Nikki Fried, chair of the Florida Democratic Party, stated, "Florida Democrats just put the Republican Party on notice, suggesting that the slim margins reflect a growing rejection of Trump's agenda among voters." While despite losing, raised an impressive $12 million for his campaign, significantly outpacing Fine's $1 million, and his message resonated with many voters concerned about the implications of budget cuts and government downsizing. These elections come at a crucial time as Republicans hold a fragile majority in the House of Representatives. The narrow wins could signal impending challenges for the party as they navigate a political landscape that appears increasingly competitive. Trump's endorsement of both Fine and Patronis was instrumental in their campaigns, with Fine publicly crediting the former president for his victory. as both parties analyze the implications of these results. The upcoming midterms are set to be a contentious battleground. Republican leaders may need to recalibrate their strategies to address voter concerns that emerged during these special elections, while Democrats could leverage this momentum to build a broader coalition moving forward. The stakes are high and both parties are keenly aware that the political tides may be shifting in Florida and beyond. With the 2025 midterm elections looming, the implications of these results will likely reverberate well beyond the Sunshine State. In a closely watched election that has significant implications for both Wisconsin and the broader national political landscape, Susan Crawford, a candidate backed by Democrats, has emerged victorious in the race for a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Her win not only reinforces the court's liberal majority but also serves as a notable setback for high-profile supporters of her opponent, including President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk. Crawford, a Dane County judge known for her advocacy on issues such as union rights and abortion access, celebrated her victory on April 1, 2025 as a triumph over systemic financial influences in politics. "Growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I would be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin," she proclaimed during her election night speech. "And we won." This remark underscores the high stakes of the election, which saw unprecedented financial backing for both candidates, particularly from Musk, who contributed over $21 million to support Republican challenger Brad Schimel. Despite facing this overwhelming financial onslaught, Crawford's campaign managed to resonate with voters, leading her to defeat Schimel by more than 8 points. The election achieved the highest voter turnout in a Wisconsin Supreme Court race, with over 52% of the voting-age population participating. This marked a significant increase compared to previous elections, indicating a heightened public interest in judicial matters that impact political outcomes. Crawford's victory is viewed as a critical win for Democrats, especially amid concerns regarding the direction of the Supreme Court and its influence on key issues like voting rights and abortion. With her seat secure, the court will maintain its 4-3 liberal majority, a composition that is not expected to change until 2028. This stability is crucial as the court is likely to deliberate on contentious topics, including potential future voting challenges in a state that is often pivotal in national elections. The election was not only a state-level contest but also a reflection of larger national sentiments. It served as a litmus test for Trump's political influence following his return to the presidency. And Musk's involvement drew significant attention. Musk personally handed out $1 million checks to selected Wisconsin voters just days before the election, a move that was met with skepticism by many. "Today Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy," Crawford declared in her victory speech, emphasizing the importance of judicial independence. The reaction from Schimel and his supporters was mixed, with some expressing anger and disbelief at the election results. Schimel, who had been endorsed by Trump and Musk, tried to distance himself from their influences during his campaign, stating he would not be beholden to any single political figure. Yet the overwhelming financial backing from Musk's network was a consistent point of contention used by Crawford to frame Schimel as a candidate for corporate interests. Conversely, the results indicate a rejection of what many voters perceived as the encroachment of wealthy individuals in electoral processes. As Wisconsin Democratic Party Chair Ben Wickler noted, "Ultimately, I think it's going to help Susan Crawford because people do not want to see Elon Musk buying election after election." This election, characterized by record-breaking spending and intense campaigning, signifies a broader struggle over the judiciary in the United States, where court appointments increasingly reflect partisan divides. As the political landscape continues to evolve, the outcomes of such races will be critical in shaping future policies and electoral strategies. Looking ahead, Crawford's victory sets the stage for further ideological battles in the Wisconsin Supreme Court, particularly regarding issues that resonate deeply with voters across the nation. As both parties recalibrate their approaches in light of these results, the implications of this election will likely reverberate well beyond Wisconsin, influencing judicial races and political strategies in other battleground states.